Hi everyone, welcome to Basketball Victoria's online sporting schools program. My name's Jared and this is Lockie. We're here from Frankston Basketball to run today's session. This is session 4 of the program. Today's session we're going to wrap up and sort of encompass a lot of the skills and drills that we've been working on. But as always, we're going to start with a warm-up. So our warm-up today, the first exercise we're going to do is just your standard high knee running, up and back. Now go back. We need the extra warm-up today. High knee skips is the second exercise, so high knee skips. And we'll go back. Then we've got a lateral hop or like a lateral slide exercise, so we're just going to skip across from one side of the key to the other. You can make this sideline to sideline if you like to extend the warm-up out a little bit. We're going to do some zigzags, so we're going to just changing direction, focusing on changing direction. Careful with this one. And we'll go back. Nice one. We've got our pitter-patter stops, so we're going to just kind of sprint out a couple of steps, come to a pitter-patter, take off and go again. So it's just acceleration, deceleration. So we take off, pitter-patter and go again. Away we go. And then we're going to come to the front here and finish off with 10 squats. So just body weight squats, sitting down on our imaginary chair, get nice and warm. Okay, so the first drill we're going to do today is a jump, stop, pivot and pass drill. Now I know I said in the first session that we did that we don't really call it a jump stop anymore, but it's okay for the sake of this drill. So essentially we're combining ball handling, some footwork and also some passing. So the aim of the drill, or what Lockie's going to complete here, is he's going to do this drill as if he was doing it on his own. So this is for you if you've got students and you need to have one ball between, or one ball each. This is a really good one. So if you've got a wall, Lockie can start against a wall. As you can see, we've got a cone laid out here about 4 or 5 meters forward. Lockie's just going to dribble out with his dominant hand, come to a 2-foot stop at that cone, and he's going to pivot around and then make a chest pass back to the wall and start again. So we'll go through that one quickly. 2-foot stop, pivot around, chest pass to the wall and jog back. So what we want to focus on here is obviously with our ball handling again, we're going back over, keeping our eyes forward. Lockie's dog's paw here, so he's just fingertips on the basketball, making sure that he's absorbing that impact. And then when he's completing that pass, we're really focusing on that thumbs up, thumbs down, and he's stepping forward into his pass to create that momentum. The pivot is a really good one. I'll just watch Lockie do one here again. So the pivot is something we haven't talked too much about the technique of a pivot. Really what we want to do is if Lockie's coming to a 2-foot stop, either foot can be his pivot foot. Right now he's going to probably forward pivot around, so his left foot is going to be his pivot foot. As long as that foot stays planted on the ground, he's able to spin around on that to create better passing angles, which he's obviously doing here in this drill. Go on more. Pivoting around. And again, we're doing this as an individual drill here, so one ball between one person. This we could challenge this drill by timing it. We could put a minute on the clock and we could challenge the kids to try and get as many passes as they possibly can in a minute. We can add to the drill, so we can add crossover, so we can change the ball handling. So if Lockie was to, instead of just right hand dribble, he's completing crossovers all the way out to the cone, just to challenge those kids that maybe are already at a more intermediate or advanced level. But really the fundamentals of this are we're just working on ball handling, footwork, coming to a stop and then completing a proper pass. So now we're completing the jump, stop, pivot and pass drill as if we were in pairs. So if we're able to pass to the basketball and work in pairs, it's the same setup essentially, but you might have to use 2 cones, and you're going to set up on a baseline and then set a cone about 5 meters out from the baseline. Again, you'd be in pairs. So Lockie's going to do the same thing. Essentially, he's going to dribble out, come to a 2-foot stop at this cone. He's going to pivot around, and now he's going to pass to me, and then I'm going to go. So we'll show you what that looks like. Go for it, Lockie. Perfect. And same as the last one, if you want to add a bit of a challenge in, again, we're just adding a crossover as we're dribbling. Come to that 2-foot stop, pivot, step forward and make our pass. So that's our jump, stop, pivot and pass drill for individuals and also to work in pairs. So now we're going to move on to our longest pass drill. Okay, so we've worked on our passing technique in week 2. We've just worked on a jump, stop, pivot and pass. Now we've got a bit of a game for our kids to compete against one another or to compete with themselves if they're doing this drill individually. So again, I've got Lockie here on the baseline next to that cone. I've got this cone in my hand because I'm going to mark where he gets his pass to. So really he's just going to use a chest pass. He can step forward into that chest pass, thumbs up, thumbs down, and he's going to try and get the ball as far as he possibly can. Obviously with the setup we've got here today, he's not going to throw it as far as he can or it'll hit the camera, but I'm just going to mark where he gets to with his pass. Okay, so he's stepped forward, passes that one, bang, that's perfect. And then we're just going to challenge Lockie, see if he can get a little bit further than that, and I'll pick up the cone and move it. Perfect. All right, so I've got about a metre further. We just keep challenging Lockie to see if he can get a little bit further each time. Perfect. Excellent. And again, we can do that one. You can do that individually. You could set up on the sideline. Each kid would have a cone, maybe a partner who's marking where their pass goes to. And we're just challenging them to keep the proper technique in their pass, but we're asking them to use as much power as they possibly can generate and see how far they can throw the ball. Okay, so now we're going to move on to our rangefinder drill. In week 1, we worked on the fundamentals of shooting. Now we're going to build on that a little bit, and we're going to have a little bit of a game. So we can probably have 4 or 5 kids at each hoop, each with their own basketball. The aim of this drill is we're trying to, again, focus on the fundamentals of our shooting. So we come back to our beef principles. We've got our balance, we've got our elbow under the ball, eyes on the rim, and we're focusing on our follow through. But we're now adding a bit of a competitive aspect to this. So with 4 or 5 kids at each end or per hoop, we'd probably put time on the clock. So we usually put about 2 or 3 minutes on this one, but a minute's probably long enough to challenge each kid. Basically what Lockie's going to do is he's going to start right underneath the hoop basically, or just a step out from the hoop. The aim is he's got to make 3 shots in a row before he can take a step back. So he's going to shoot the basketball, get his own rebound, return to that spot until he's made 3 in a row and step back. Again, we've got a minute on the clock, or we're setting a target of where we need our kids to get to finish the drill, but for now we're just going to see how many Lockie can make and how far he can get back. Perfect. So as you can see, Lockie again obviously focusing on the balance, feet are shoulder width apart, elbows under the ball. He's sitting in that imaginary chair. He's got 3 in a row now, so he can take a nice big step back. And again, we're just dialing in that shooting range. He's able to sort of understand that depth perception. This is a really good one for kids to build up and start to move their shot back. It also teaches them the importance of proper shooting form, because the further they go back, the harder it is to hit the shot, the more likely they are to start to get a bit funky with their form. But we want to just coach that if they're able to stick to that fundamental shooting form, they're more likely to be able to get 3 shots in a row. Their shot's going to be more consistent. So this drill is really good because it does reward that consistency in your shooting. Bang. See if Lockie can get 3 in a row here. Pressure's on. Nice one. Perfect. So that's the rangefinder drill. Okay, so our last game for today is the around the world game again. We're going to build on what we did in week 1 or in the first session with this drill. So we've worked obviously on our layups in session 3, so we're going to add those into the around the world game. We've also changed the position of our cone slightly. So we've got, instead of having that cone further down where the backboard, in line with the backboard, we've moved it out to the block here, which is a better spot for us to complete a layup. Then we've moved this one up a little bit just inside sort of the free throw line. Again, we've got free throw line here and same down the other side. So for this time, last one was to make 5 shots from each spot. Now we're going to count our points. Okay, so again, you can still do this with groups of kids. The aim is to get to 10 points for a shot from the block. So if Lockie is to just shoot a jump shot from the block, that's 2 points. If he completes a layup from the block, that's worth 1 point. So we're just going to watch as Lockie gets to 10 points here from the first starting position for around the world. Way you go, Lockie. Right, so that's worth 2. He's got to return to the cone each time, or obviously his partner would go or his teammate would go. If you're doing this at school now, obviously you're probably going to have 1 ball each. Each individual is going to have a basketball, so they're going to need to get their own rebound and run to the end of the line. So Lockie's mixing it up between shooting layups and shooting jump shots. Again, if you're working with older kids, you can move these cones back, obviously, and you can have them shooting from a little bit further out and also adding more dribbles into their layups too to challenge their ball handling and their footwork. Excellent. 10. Done. Well done. So Lockie would do that, or Lockie and his teammates or a group would get to 10 from all 5 spots to finish this off. Again, you could have 2 teams probably at either end completing this one and have everyone sort of combining those skills to really finish off the session.